Peace, everyone. Welcome to Winning Wednesday for Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. My name is Errol C. Mangle, and I am a corporate plantation escapee. So welcome to Winning Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, we discuss current events in the financial markets. Today, I've got several articles I wanted to share. Today is a very key day in the market. Today is a very key day in the market. We're going to get into why shortly. As you guys come in, let us know where you're from. Today we're live on StreamYard. We are live on YouTube, and we are live on X. So we welcome everyone across all platforms. Let us know where you're checking in from. Today I've got several articles I want to share. We've got a couple articles from CNN Business I want to share. I've got an article from Routers I want to share. A couple YouTube shorts I want to share. I got a couple scheduling updates I want to share. And I want to share earnings as well. All right. Let's see here. So far in the market, as of 12:01 p.m. Eastern, mix of green and red so far. Mix of green and red. The S&P is slightly up. The NASDAQ is slightly down. Mega caps seem to be slightly up. Bitcoin at 92.2. Google 317. Microsoft 480. Meta 652. Netflix is an interesting one. Maybe we talk about Netflix. Let me pull up Google right quick. NFLX stock price. This is an interesting one here. Let me share my screen. Oop, wrong button. Let's take a quick look at Netflix stock. What's going on with Netflix? Okay, Netflix currently 94.98 Netflix. It's been down recently. Let's see what's going on with Netflix. Okay, down 8% in the last 5 days. Okay, down 8%. 1 month down 15%. Okay, so if you like Netflix, if you subscribe to Netflix, consider owning some Netflix. 6 months down 21%. Okay, although year to date up 7%. Okay, so interesting ticker here. Netflix been in the news recently. Let's see here. Okay, Netflix currently $95 even. Okay, so that's an interesting ticker right there. What else do I see in the market? Let me go back. Let me check my list here. NVIDIA 182. Tesla 446. TSM 305. Okay, so some of the tickers I follow. But so far a mix of green and red today. All right, 12:03 p.m. Eastern. I want to get right into it. Today's a very key day in the market. As you may know, later today at 2 p.m. Eastern, the Fed will make their decision on interest rate cuts. I've got an article here from CNN Business I wanted to share. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, here we go. From CNN Business, why does the stock market care so much about a rate cut? Let's talk about that. Why does that even matter? Let's find out. All right, here we go. Okay, again, from CNN Business. Why does the stock market care so much about a rate cut? Let's see why. And this is from yesterday. Just a few weeks ago, the stock market stumbled over fears that AI stocks might be in a bubble. Now stocks are back within a reach of a record high. Thank the Fed. The market has rebounded from a dip in early November as investors have leaned into bets that the Fed will cut interest rates this week at its last policy meeting of the year. Okay, so let's pause right there. I'm looking at the market right now, and do you think the market already priced this rate cut into consideration? In your opinion, has the market already considered this rate cut? Or do you expect volatility later today? In my opinion, I believe the market already has priced this in. There's been a talk regarding this rate cut for a while. I believe the market will trade flat the rest of today, the rest of this week. I believe the market already considers the rate cut. All right, let's continue. Interest rate cuts can boost stocks by lowering savings rates and borrowing costs for individuals and businesses, in turn encouraging spending and investing, spurring business activity, and increasing corporate earnings. Fed rate cuts can also lower the yield on short-term government bonds and cash equivalents, like money market funds, making higher yielding assets like stocks more attractive. All told, interest rate cuts can create a strong tailwind for stocks. Traders on Monday. Okay, here we go. Traders on Monday were pricing in an 89% chance the Fed cuts rates, according to FedWatch. Markets have essentially seen a complete reversal of November's weakness. This has coincided almost in lockstep with rate cut odds for upcoming December Fed meeting. Lower rates can boost stocks. The Fed is cutting rates in response to concerns about a weakening labor market, but for investors, lower rates can provide fuel for stocks to rally. Okay, so what happens later today directly impacts your bottom line. Okay, there's a lot of things that we learned in formal education that did not impact our bottom line. The Fed's rate decision later today will impact your bottom line. The Fed's benchmark interest rate influences a range of interest rates across the economy. A Fed rate cut can lead to a lowering financing cost for a broad range of companies. Russell 2000, a market index of smaller companies that are more rate sensitive, hit a record high on 12/4. The Fed on Wednesday will release its quarterly summary of economic projections, which lays out unanimously officials' expectations for the course of interest rates across the coming months. As the Fed considers additional rate cuts at its meeting this week and into 26, reaccelerating inflation would likely force a slower, more cautious path. Okay, so all eyes on the Fed today at 2 o'clock. Okay, so here's a brief summary on why the market cares at all about this interest rate cut. Okay, so that's the first article I wanted to share. I've actually got let me stop sharing that one. I got a YouTube short I wanted to share that talks about that exact thing. Let me see if I can share this correctly. Share screen. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, let's see what Yahoo Finance's YouTube short. Let's see what they're talking about here. Okay, so yeah, this first one right here. Trump, is power going to lower rates finally? Trump, we need incredible deals with. All right, let's check out a couple of these shorts here. Let's check out this one right here.
You know who too late is too late, pal? Is he going to lower rates a little bit finally? Did you see where Jamie Dimon, respected guy, said, you got to get the rates down? You know who too late is too late, pal? Is he going to lower rates a little bit finally? Did you see where Jamie Dimon, respected guy, said, you got to get the rates down? You know who too late is too late, pal? Is he going to lower rates a little bit finally?
Okay, there's Trump, trumping. Okay, there's Trump trumping. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. There was another one. I think it was on a different YouTube channel, shorts, that I was thinking of. But anyways, maybe we can come back to these shorts. Trump cites Jamie Dimon saying lower rates. So we'll see what actually happens later today. Okay, we'll see what happens later today. I believe Powell will have a conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, so we'll keep an eye out regarding that. Okay, so let me miss the chat. Peace to Andrea. I believe Andrea. Peace, Andrea. Detroit in the building. Good morning to my guy Nicholas. Cali. Good morning in Cali. Good afternoon in the East Coast. Good morning on the West Coast. Good afternoon on the East Coast. Shout out Nicholas. All right, so there's a couple things I wanted to share right there. Let me see what else I got here. You might have heard about NVIDIA exporting their chips to China. I've got an article on that I want to share. I've got an article on Google smart glasses I wanted to share. But before we get into anything else, before we get into that, I got a article, not an article, but a website I want to share. Well, I got a website I want to share. This website is companiesmarketcap.com. Companiesmarketcap.com. So let me go to that. Let me share that screen. It's a quick snapshot on the world's biggest companies. Okay, snapshot on the world's biggest companies. Here we go. All right, I've got this filtered to market cap, just basically the total value of each company. Okay, top 9 right there: NVIDIA, Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Broadcom, Meta, TSMC, Saudi Aramco, Tesla in the top 10. Berkshire, Walmart, Eli Lilly, JP Morgan, Tencent, Visa, Oracle to round out the top 17. Round out the top 18, ExxonMobil, J&J, Palantir at 22, Netflix. Okay, Netflix we just talked about at 24. AMD rounds out 30. Home Depot rounds out 33. Okay, so there's a quick list of the world's most valuable companies in order. Okay, Samsung at 20, Oracle 17, Visa 16, JP Morgan's 14. Okay, so that's by market cap though. That's by total size, right? So now if I filter by, say, earnings, let's see. Saudi Aramco number 1 in terms of earnings, followed by Google, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA to round out the top 5. Meta at 7. That's earnings. Let's check revenue. Let me skip the ad. Okay, here are the top companies by revenue, according to companiesmarketcap.com. Walmart, Amazon, Saudi Aramco to round out the top 3. Okay, that's revenue. Let's check market cap gain. How about market cap gain? Amazon number 1. Let me see. This is today. I think this is by day here. This third column says day. Amazon, GE, Vernova, Apple, JP Morgan, Palantir to round out the top 5. And let's see what else they have here. Operating margin, market cap loss, cost to borrow. Okay, you might have heard me mention margin before, profit margin. Let me check out operating margin. Bajaj Holdings. Okay, several companies I'm not familiar with round out operating margin. Okay, look at the operating margin on these companies: 98, 97, 97, 97, 96. Okay, crazy margins. Okay, so this is probably why I haven't heard of these companies. India, Austria, Australia, Germany. I'm not as familiar with some of these international companies as I am with the domestic companies, as these U.S. companies. Okay, so there's a quick overview on market cap, earnings, revenue, employees, and so forth from companiesmarketcap.com. Okay, companiesmarketcap.com. Okay, it wasn't too long ago that NVIDIA was touching the $5 trillion market cap. So I believe it's only a matter of time before they get back up to $5 trillion. All right, let's see what else we got. All right. Okay, so let's see what else I got here. All right, I want to share this screenshot, this website from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Bureau of Labor Statistics. Very key week. Not only a very key day today, but this week is also a very key week in the market. And here's another reason why. Yeah, you may know the Fed meets later today, but here's another reason why that this week is a key week in the financial markets. Let me see if I can share this properly. Okay, Bureau, let me scroll up a little bit. Just a little bit. BLS.gov, BLS.gov, Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, schedule of releases of CPI, Consumer Price Index, also known as the inflation report. Here is why. Tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, not p.m., 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay, the Fed will, actually not the Fed, the BLS, Bureau of Labor Stats, will release inflation data tomorrow morning. Okay, November's inflation data tomorrow morning. Okay, so here's another reason as to why this week is a key week in the financial markets. Okay, tomorrow morning, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will release CPI. Okay, so Fed meeting today, CPI released tomorrow. Okay, what do you guys think? I think the last report they had, they said inflation was what, 2.9%. I think 2 months ago was 2.9%. We're going to see what they say tomorrow morning. Okay, so keep an eye on CPI report tomorrow morning. There may be some volatility. There may not be some volatility. Okay. U.S. Bureau of Labor Stats website. All right. So another reason why this week is very important. All right. Let's see. Let me take a quick look at the market. Okay, nothing crazy the last few minutes. All right, let's see what else we got. I was on CNN Business the last couple of days. You might have seen this article in the headlines regarding NVIDIA. Let's see what this article says. Trump greenlights exports of NVIDIA H200 chips. Okay, so this article has impact not only in the financial markets, but also in the world of geopolitics. Let's see what this says here. President Donald Trump on Monday announced he's removing export controls on NVIDIA's H200 chips to China. So the first thought that comes to mind is why the reversal? Okay, why the reversal? A key reversal in what's become part of a broader trade war between the world's two biggest economies. Okay, so when I read that, first thing that comes to my mind is yesterday it wasn't cool, today it is cool. So like that makes me scratch my head. What's up with that? H200s, the second most powerful AI chip in NVIDIA's inventory, are vital for completing tasks performed by AI. NVIDIA's highly sought after Blackwell chips and next generation Rubin chips are not part of the deal, Trump wrote. I have informed President Xi of China that the U.S. will allow NVIDIA to ship its H200 products to approved customers in China and other countries under conditions that allow for continued strong national security. President Xi responded positively. NVIDIA, the world's most valuable company and leading chip maker, has seen massive success as demand for AI has boomed in recent years, but that success has also dropped its square in the middle of a global tensions over who will win a global race to dominate AI. In his post, Trump added 25% will be paid to the U.S. of America, possibly implying 25% of revenue NVIDIA earns from the sales will go to the American. Okay, so this is why. Okay, it's not cool if I don't break you off. It is cool if I do break you off. Okay, so that's why. That's seemingly why. Okay, so maybe now this is just my 2 cents. Maybe it's not a matter of national security. Maybe it's more of a matter of big revenue. The news comes after Trump met with NVIDIA's CEO last week. Trump has repeatedly said that the U.S. must win the global AI race, even as China has invested heavily in its own domestic industry. Let's see here. Okay, so Trump also said the Department of Commerce is finalizing a similar approach for AMD, Intel, and other American chip companies. The decision comes after Trump has struck arrangements with chip makers earlier this year, including an agreement with NVIDIA and AMD to pay the U.S. government 15% of its revenues from chip sales to China. Trump also announced in August that the government will take a 10% stake in Intel. Okay. So in your opinion, is this a matter of national security or is this a matter of big revenue? Drop it in the chat. Is this a matter of national security or a matter of big revenue? Which one? Okay, in my opinion, it's a matter of big revenue more so than national security. All right, so that's what's going on with Trump, Nvidia, and China. What do you guys think about that? Let me check the current price on Nvidia. Nvidia is currently 182.48, down 1.35% today to 182.46. 182.46 for Nvidia. Do you guys like Nvidia? Do you guys like Nvidia at 182? What price do you like Nvidia at? I like Nvidia in the 160s, 170s. Currently 182. 182 for the world's largest company. World's largest company was as high as, let me share my screen here. It was as high as 212, it looks like, back in October. Let me share my chart of NVIDIA right quick. Share screen. Here's the NVIDIA chart. Okay, NVIDIA, 182.5. If you look back to, let's see when this was. If you look back to October 29th, it looks like it was about 211, 212. Early November, 211. Currently 182. Okay. Back in July, 174. Okay, this goes back about 6 months. Okay, so there's the NVIDIA chart, the 6 month chart. 3 months. Okay, it's back 3 months. Let's see here. 211, 212 at the end of October. See if you can get the year to date. Okay, year to date. This doesn't look like the year to date. This kind of ends in July. Okay, so it looks like here's a 6 month. Okay, here's a 6 month again. So NVIDIA currently 182. Are you buying at 182? Are you guys buying at 182? What price do you like NVIDIA at? What price do you like NVIDIA at? Let's see. What price do you like NVIDIA at? I like NVIDIA in the 170s or even in the 160s. Okay. Another interesting ticker I wanted to look at today was Microsoft. Okay. You might have heard me speak about Microsoft in the past. I bought a little Microsoft today in the high 470s. Let me see if I can pull up the chart here. Microsoft currently 481, down about $11 today, about 2.25%. Let's see if I get the 6 months. 6 months. Okay, this is 6 months. Okay, so it looks like it peaked at 550, 552 back in October. After I think the 2 earnings ago, it jumped back in July, 552, 553. Okay, you can see this big gap right here. Okay, that was the earnings back in July, I think it was. All right, so I bought some Microsoft earlier today in the high 470s or 480. Okay, currently 481. Okay, what price do you like Microsoft at? I slowly build out my position in Microsoft. All right, so let's see what else we got. All right, I have an article from Google I want to share, but before I do that, let's go back to Yahoo Finance's YouTube short. Let's check out some more shorts. Let me stop sharing that one, and let me share Yahoo Finance's YouTube short page. Here we go. Let's see what else we got here. See if there's any other interesting shorts here. This is an interesting one right here.
2024 was peak Mag 7 earnings growth, peak tech earnings growth. In fact, that earnings growth slowed a touch into 2025. But because we had so much uncertainty emerge with respect to tariffs, where were interest rates going, slow economic conditions, the rest of the index really didn't put up much earnings acceleration. That's expected to change in 2026. The analyst consensus is thinking, look, the Fed's going to reduce interest rates. We're going to get some tax refunds coming in 2026. Maybe we'll have a little bit of stability emerge on the trade front, and the rest of the index can create some earnings growth. If that gap starts to close, we might start to see some rotation into those non-tech stocks. And indeed, that's what we've seen over the course of the last 4 to 6 weeks is the non-tech stocks getting a little bit of attention, while tech stocks, in particular the Mag 7, lose a little bit of the market's mind. There are winners and losers emerging. It's no longer one big trade. As more opportunities emerge, and maybe some disturbances start to emerge in the Mag 7, the winners and losers should come to light. 2020.
Okay, Mag 7, calendar 25. Here's a short on the article we just talked about.
Competition is so critical for these advanced technologies at this point, even though it sounds counter to what a lot of arguments are out there, giving other people a competitive edge against us. But in fact, the competition is good.
You're buying Jensen Huang's argument that to prevent China outpacing us, we need to be a participant in that market.
Absolutely. There's going to be challenges. We're going to have to watch carefully about security, et cetera. But they're going after it anyway. And technology is an interesting thing. It's like water. It'll find the cracks, especially when there's opportunity for the money and the growth. So if NVIDIA is not there, someone else is going to be there, and that's going to be Huawei or somebody else, but it's not going to be a U.S. company. So it's actually a really smart thing to, in a controlled way, let NVIDIA in. Competition.
Okay, YouTube short discussing NVIDIA and competition. Let's see. Okay, Netflix. We just talked about
the
Netflix.
winner is definitely Warner Brothers Discovery, because you have here two very, very interested bidders who are willing to go all out. I think the street still views the Netflix offer as the superior one, but Paramount really kind of promising regulatory certainty, speed of completion, and of course the financing part as well, not to mention the fact that this is an all-cash bid. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out with regulators. In the case of the Paramount Warner Brothers deal, it seems like the regulatory path might be a little bit more simple, just because you don't have such dominant platforms, and even in box office share, I don't think they trigger any big red flags. But again, this is all up to the whims and fancies of the Trump administration, so we'll have to wait and watch. The winner is definitely Warner Brothers Discovery, because you have here two very
Netflix in the news recently. Okay, let me share this last Google short, this last YouTube short, and then I want to pull up an article related to this short.
I think we're just at the beginning of the AI kind of super cycle. Google is definitely going to be a beneficiary of this. I think Google, continues to have a lot of digital properties it can leverage AI across, and the models are performing really well. Whenever an industry is going through hyper growth, I think there's going to be a lot of capital chasing, and then there's also going to be a lot of competitors and players that are entering the market, both existing and new. So you want to invest on the platforms that are able to provide a lot of value and capture a lot of value along the way. I think we're just at the beginning of the AI kind of super cycle. Google is definitely going to be a beneficiary of this. I think Google, continues to have a lot of digital properties it can leverage AI across, and the models are performing really well. Whenever an industry is going through hyper growth, I think there's going to be a lot of capital chasing, and then there's also going to be a lot of competitors and players that are entering the market, both existing and new. So you want to invest on the platforms that are able to provide a lot of value and capture a lot of value along the way.
Okay, a YouTube short regarding Google. Let's see here. I saw an article from CNN Business that describes Google's smart glasses. Okay, Google's smart glasses. Let's check out that article. All right, let's see what it says here. I tried Google's prototype smart glasses and it almost made me forget about my phone. All right, that's a very interesting headline here. Let's see. How often do you reach for your phone to get directions, answer a video call, or Google something? Probably more times than you can count. Google wants to change that, and it's not alone. Okay, you actually may know before we go any further. You already may know with this product. Before I go any further into the detail of this article, what comes to my mind is Google is trying to compete with Meta's Oculus. Is it Oculus? Meta's headset. I forget the name if it's Oculus. So this may be, in my mind, this is a direct competition between those two companies. Google wants to change that, and it's not alone. The search giant is part of a growing cohort of tech companies betting big on smart glasses. okay, smart glasses, that use AI to relay information from your phone and analyze your surroundings using cameras and microphones. Google demonstrated its glasses in May and introduced the software behind them a year ago. But last week it showed CNN and other outlets a more detailed look at the software, providing a better glimpse into what to expect when glasses launch next year. It could be a step toward a world where people are no longer grabbing their phones every few seconds. If the glasses are successful, that is. Google Glass, the company's previous attempt at smart glasses, flopped roughly a decade ago because they were unstylish, expensive, and limited in functionality, and brought up a wave of privacy concerns. Google relies mostly on search, advertising, and cloud services for its revenue, so hardware products like smart glasses are not going to make or break the nearly $4 trillion tech juggernaut. But the stakes are still high for smart glasses, with tech giants eager to plant their flag in what they see as the next wave of personal computers. All right. Google already faces stiff There we go. Google already faces stiff competition as Meta has touted strong sales of its Ray-Ban glasses, saying in October earnings call that the newest model sold out. Holy moly! Sold out in almost every store within 48 hours. Tech companies, including Google, have tried to and failed to make VR headsets and glasses an everyday product. Similar to Meta's Ray-Ban glasses, Google Spectacles let you do a variety of things hands-free, such as taking a photo, getting directions, answering calls, and learning about the objects in your viewpoint. I've asked Gemini questions like, do I need to read the other books in the series, or are these peppers spicy when glancing at a shelf of books or at grocery stores? All right, so Google is not sitting around idle. Okay, Google is competing in what they believe is a growing industry. Headsets. Okay, Google Glass headset. Google went down this twisty road over a decade ago when its failed Google Glass headset sparked controversy. Okay. The version of Google Maps I tried on the glasses shows a narrow pointing you in the right direction near your sightline in the map when you glance down. It's similar in functionality to the way Google Maps works on phones, but without the hassle looking down at the screen. Okay, one of the products I use from Google every week is Google Maps. So I'll be interested to see how they innovate, how they incorporate Google Maps into the glasses. Okay, plans to sell the glasses in two versions, one in a display and another that provides audio feedback. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so very interesting article here from CNN Business. Google is coming out with some glasses, okay? Okay, very interesting article here from CNN Business. Is there a business takeaway? Is there a business lesson in this article? Is there a business lesson in this article? Drop it. What do you believe the business lesson in this article is? Is there even a business lesson in this article? What's your takeaway from this article? Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. My takeaway is, if all your competitors are competing in a certain space, at least consider competing in that same space. If your direct competitors are competing and they see opportunity within a certain space, at the very least, you need to consider competing in that very space. That's my takeaway. Okay, all right, let me go to routers. I want to go to routers. Let's see what's up with routers. Let's check any interesting headlines from routers. Here we go. All right. Okay, so I went to routers and the market section on routers. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so it just gives us some stats here. I'm wondering if they have articles here. Let's see. Stocks recall as investors get fed AI earnings jitters. We'll see what happens later today. Okay, so not too many articles from Routers. Asian markets. Let's see if we just go to the U.S. markets here. Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P. Let's see if we can see everything here. Okay, futures. Commodities. Okay, there's not too many articles on Routers. Let's check business. Fed expected lower rates, but may signal a coming pause. Wall Street mixed ahead of Fed verdict as doubts grow over 26 cuts. Let's see here. The article on Google there. All right, so that's some headlines from Routers, business and Routers markets. All right, let me check my notes. Let me see what else I got here. I saw yesterday, I think it was, silver shot up to an all-time high. Did you guys notice that? Silver shot up to an all-time high. I think it was yesterday. Let's check out some news regarding silver. What's the market value on an ounce of silver? Silver news. Yes, 30 minutes ago, silver hits all-time high of 61 per ounce, up 110% year to date. Wow, 110% in 1 year. Let's check out this Forbes article. One chart you need to see. Let's see here. Silver is on a parabolic rally. Parabolic rally. Okay, I mean that first sentence is all you need to know right there. Parabolic rally. So silver to 100 has been my call for a long time. As global anxiety about economic rivalry intensifies, gold will remain strong and silver will follow. Meanwhile, the AR supercycle is coming, ready to push metals even higher as it devours all hard and energy commodities. This is the silver chart right here, looks like. Silver USD, let's see here, 2020 right there, this vertical line, 2025 right here, this vertical line. Let's see here, I think this is 100 here and 90 here. Okay, so where do you see silver going? Okay, so silver hits an all-time high. This 80 to 100, here we come. And when they start screaming 200 next, that might be the time to consider leaving. Okay, do you guys hold any silver? Okay, this is an article from Forbes. Okay, you guys can check out that article from Forbes. What do you guys think about that? Silver, all-time high. All right, I want to mention a couple things in terms of scheduling. Those of you in the B1 Options Masterclass, last night we had week 1. We discussed 5 selling strategies. Today at 2 p.m. Eastern, we will have our first lab. Next week's topic, we will discuss how to reverse engineer your freedom, The following week, we will discuss HELOC mathematics. Okay, so that's the first 3 topics. Today at 2 p.m. Eastern will be the first lab. We will have bi-weekly labs every second Wednesday. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention in terms of scheduling. What else? Another thing I wanted to mention in terms of scheduling is next week. Next week, Wednesday, I will probably push up Winning Wednesday 1 or 2 hours. Okay, so next week, Wednesday, I'll be traveling, so I will push up Winning Wednesdays by 1 or 2 hours. I haven't decided just yet. Next week, Wednesday, either 10 a.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Eastern next week, Wednesday, for Winning Wednesdays. Okay, so that's a couple of things in terms of scheduling. I want to mention in terms of consults, if you want to consult with me, many of you already consult with me in terms of options. Some of you consult with me regarding your business venture, reviewing some of the numbers on your real estate ventures, reviewing some of the numbers on your options, reviewing some of the numbers on your startup. If you want to consult with me, I just dropped a link in the chat. If you guys want to check out a consult with me, consider a consult with me. Here is the actual landing page. Now there is a cost, but of course, my promise to you is to provide more value in return than the expense. Okay. 4 hours, 8 hours, and 10 hours. Okay. 4 hours, 1,000, 8 hours, 1,800, 10 hours, 2,000. Okay. Many of you consult with me regarding options. Okay. Some of the analysis, some of the underlying theory, some of the math, some of the psychology, trade execution, how to manage the positions, and just overall best practices. Okay. So if you're interested in the consult, either options or just to discuss your business venture, consider consult with me. Okay, consider a consult with me. All right, what else do we got? Let's see here. I have earnings I want to discuss. Let me pull up earnings. A couple bigger companies in earnings this week. One major, I think one big company in my opinion. Here's the visual on earnings this week. Earlier this week, Monday, Tuesday, nothing crazy. Earlier today, nothing crazy. Oracle later today, Adobe later today. Tomorrow, after hours, Broadcom is probably the biggest name on this list. Okay, Broadcom, I think, is the 6th largest company or 7th largest company in the world. They report tomorrow after hours. Broadcom tomorrow after hours. Okay, so that's a look at this week's earnings. You guys hold any Broadcom, any Oracle, any Adobe, any of these companies? That's earnings this week. All right, there is earnings. All right, let me check some headlines on Bloomberg. All right. Let me share my screen here. Okay, here's Bloomberg. Maybe we check a couple of articles from Bloomberg. Inside Meta's pivot from open source to money-making AI model. Okay, Meta, top 5, top 6, top 7 company in the world. They are not playing games with you. Okay, let's check out that article. Zuckerberg is getting personally involved in day-to-day work. Okay, Zuckerberg is not playing no games. Zuckerberg, months into building one of the priciest. Will they let me read this or no? Okay, I'm banned from reading. I am banned from reading. No more reading for me. Okay. Bloomberg, you're fired. All right, let me fire Bloomberg right quick. Let me hire Yahoo Finance right quick. Let me hire Yahoo Finance right quick. All right, here's Yahoo Finance. Live look at their headlines. Okay, all eyes on Powell today. Let's see what else we have. Okay, this is an interesting one right here. I saw SpaceX IPO plan puts 2.9 trillion listing. Okay, I gotta read that one. That is crazy. That's a crazy IPO number. Dang. SpaceX IPO plan puts 2.9 trillion of listings on the table. Wow. Okay, let's see if we watch this video right here. Bloomberg, the floodgates could be poised to burst open on Wall Street for 2.9 trillion worth of private companies that have avoided going public for years. The prospect of SpaceX IPO preparing the ground. All right, let's see what this says here.
Tom, it's really a significant IPO if it comes to pass. As you said, it's targeting to raise well over $30 billion, which would put it far ahead of the previous IPO record set by Saudi Aramco back in 2019 when it raised $29 billion. It's also a hugely well-known name. It's the world's most prolific launcher of rockets. It dominates the space industry. And it's currently doing an insider share sale at a valuation of over $800 billion, which makes it the world's most highly valued private company. And it's one of a number of these high-profile tech companies which are still private and have raised copious amounts of money privately, all the while delaying going public. So an IPO of a name like SpaceX would be a huge test of the market and of investors' demand for a name like this, as well as a test of the ongoing recovery in US IPOs that we've been seeing over the past few years.
Yeah, it could be a significant indicator on that front, couldn't it, Julia? What do we know about the rationale, the logic for SpaceX pursuing an IPO when they've been able to raise capital on the private markets very easily?
Well, it's partly down to the fact of its Starlink satellite internet business, which is growing at a really fast pace. It's accounting for the majority of its revenues, and there's also the promise of a direct-to-mobile business. So all of this requires continued investment, and obviously it has been doing that privately, but the public markets might be the way to go. There's also its Starship rocket, which is designed or planned to carry a huge number of Starlink satellites and eventually cargo and people to the moon, and then to Mars. So all of this requires a really high investment. And we've also learned that SpaceX is planning to use some of the funds in the IPO to develop space-based data centers, as well as purchasing the chips needed to run them. So it's clearly all basically designed to continue funding its fast growth and to keep it a leader in the space industry.
SpaceX considering going public next year. Let's see. Okay, SpaceX. Let's see here. What was the question here? The median market cap of an S&P 500 is close to 40 billion. This is a completely different stratosphere, literally and figuratively. Okay, literally and figuratively, different stratosphere, multiple ways. Holy moly. The wailing of investors denied access to the hottest big companies was just about drowned out by investment bankers. If Elon Musk rocket giant goes public at a valuation even close to 800 billion, it's been seeking in its latest private round, or for that matter, 1.5 trillion value. It's considering in a listing. It will be a powerful vote in favor of leaving the private sphere. Okay, yeah, okay, I would imagine so. All right. Okay, so SpaceX. Keep an eye on SpaceX. Imagine that. Imagine it goes public and it's already at 1.5 trillion. That would already put it in the top, at least the top 10, top 8, maybe top 9 companies in the world. Okay, SpaceX. Okay, very interesting article from Yahoo Finance on SpaceX's potential IPO. Wells Fargo sees S&P clocking double-digit gain for next year. Okay. Let's see what else. All right, so that's Yahoo Finance current headlines. Here's what time is today's Fed meeting? Let's check the exact time. I believe it's 2, and then they have a conference at 2:30. Once the meeting concludes, the FOMC will release its policy decision at 2 p.m. Eastern. Then the Fed chairman will hold a conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's see what else here. Predicts a 90% chance of a rate cut. Okay, so 2 p.m. Okay. 2 p.m. Eastern, roughly an hour and 10 minutes from now. All right, let me check some CNBC headlines. CNBC, let's see what's going on with CNBC. Check some headlines from CNBC. Let's see what's going on over there. Okay, here's a live look at CNBC. Let's see if they have any interesting articles. Trump to start final Fed chair interviews beginning with Kevin Warsh. Dow Jones gains 200 points as investors hope for a Fed rate cut and more easing ahead. NVIDIA responds to a report that China's DeepSeek is using its banned Blackwell AI chips. Okay, here's a. I mean, when I read this headline right here, I kind of thought about this in the past. Look, if my competitor is, if I'm China and my direct competitor is limiting its chips to me, what are my options? Am I going to go, if I believe those chips will give me the competitive advantage, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit back and say, okay, aw shucks, or am I going to go get those chips some other way? If I'm China, what do? I call up South Africa, I call up Sweden, I call up Canada. I say, hey, Canada, go get me them chips. If you don't have them chips, it's going to be your ass. Okay, I'll front you some cash. If you jerk me, it's going to be a major issue. I'll front you some cash. Go get me them chips. Tell NVIDIA I need them chips, and I'll buy them from you. Okay, so there's always some kind of workaround. So I assume China has these chips already. I assume China didn't just sit back and give up. Okay, so I assume China already has these chips. I assume they got them one way or another already. I mean, if I'm China, I'm not sitting back giving up. Okay, I'm calling up some other third-party country, get me them chips, or that's going to be your ass, or it's going to be major issues. So I'm sure China has them chips already. All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay, so live look at CNN Business here. CNBC. CNBC. Okay, so that's some headlines from CNBC. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let me check CNN Business before we wrap. Oops, wrong button, my bad. Share screen. CNN Business always has good articles. All right, let's see what we got here. Nearly a third of American teens interact with AI chatbots daily. Okay, what do you think about that? Here's an interesting article. Instacart's AI technology is hiking prices as much as 20% for the same item. Okay, that'll be a dope social experiment. Me and you go on Instacart's app at the same time, order the same product, and check the price. That'll be an interesting social experiment. All right, let's see what else. Trump threatens Mexico with even higher tariffs. What is a hostile takeover bid? I think this refers to Netflix and Warner Brothers. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm out of free articles. Okay, they're banning me from reading. Too much reading. Too dangerous. All right. CNN. Okay, you're fired, CNN. CNN, you're officially fired. CNN Business, you have been relieved of your duties. All right. Any comments or questions, drop them in the chat. Let me see what's going on in the market. Okay, so what do I see in the market here? Actually, let me go to Google. Let me go to good old Google. Let's go to, actually, let me pull up Gemini. Okay, so let me see here. Start recent chats. Can I break out recent chats? Okay, Gemini. How do I break out a separate tab on Gemini? I like Gemini, but this is one of the features I don't like about Gemini. Starting a new chat, Gemini. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna just go to Google. Share screen. New tab, share. Okay, so what I'm gonna literally search is what are the, maybe I should spell right, key events in the stock market this week. Okay, so let's see what the AI says. Of course, today's FOMC meeting. Earnings, we talked about Oracle and Adobe. NVIDIA and chip stocks, we talked about that too. JP Morgan shares fell after the bank signaled higher expenses for the upcoming year. Microsoft saw a dip despite a large $23 billion in AI investments. Okay, let's see what else. Inflation data, we also talked about that. Recent tame inflation data supports rate cut expectations, but the Fed remains cautious. Dive deeper into AI mode. Let's see, Gemini. What you got for us, Gemini? Okay. Jobless claims tomorrow. Earnings. Given the market volatility, given the uncertainty and high stakes for a Fed's decision, market volatility is expected. Okay, so that's what Google's Gemini says. That's what Gemini says. Let me share. Let me go back to Gemini. Stock market. Let me go back. Let me share my screen here. Stop share screen. Okay, so according to Gemini, let's see here. Dow Jones currently 47.7, S&P 6,800, NASDAQ 23.5. Markets are pricing in a high likelihood around 90% of a 0.25% rate cut by Fed. Trading is likely to remain in a narrow range until official announcement and subsequent press conference. Let me give this a thumbs up. All right, go ahead, Gemini. All right. Investopedia, major stock indexes mixed ahead of their Fed rate decision. Pre-markets and routers, wait and see. All right, we'll see what shakes out later today. Again, very key week in the market this week, starting with today's FOMC meeting in 1 hour from now. All right, so today we discussed several things, several key events, earnings. We discussed Google's glasses. We discussed NVIDIA's chips. We discussed, what else did we discuss? Some scheduling. We discussed some other topics as well. I hope today's meeting was a value add. Again, next week, Wednesday, we will meet probably 1 or 2 hours earlier than usual. So be on the lookout for a updated time later this week or early next week. We'll meet maybe 1 or 2 hours early next week. All right, so I hope today's meeting was a value add. I hope you stay disciplined. I hope you stay focused. I hope you stay consistent. Build out your wealth. Nobody cares about your wealth like you do. Nobody cares about your outcomes like you do. If you're a part of my options classes, you know that one of the things we discuss is potential outcomes, okay? Potential outcomes. One of the things we discuss in the options class is potential outcomes. So you are the lead engineer, you are the lead architect, you are the lead change agent in your outcomes. You are CEO, whether you like it or not. All right, so stay disciplined, build out your wealth, stay consistent, stay disciplined, and stay patient, right? The market rewards those who are disciplined and patient. All right, I'm going to check you out 1:02 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to check you out next Wednesday. Until then, keep doing your thing. Keep building out your wealth. Peace.